A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to all of you for this very important session of financing for sustainable projects organized by Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana branch. I request Chairman of Infrastructure, Construction and Real Estate Committee, Mr. Vijay Sai Meka, and also Managing Director of SNS Green Private Limited, to kindly give the welcome remarks. Sir, please.
Good afternoon and a warm welcome to all of you. On behalf of Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, I welcome you all to another important session on financing of sustainable projects. I extend a special welcome to our speakers for today's session, Mr. M. Anand, Principal Councillor, CAS, Indian Green Building Council, Mr. Sandeep Singh, Business Development Lead South Asia, Edge Green Building Program, IFC, World Bank Group, Mr. Shrikant Badiga, Group Director, Phoenix Group, Mr. Sunil Chandra Reddy, President, Naredco, Telangana, Mr. Ramkrishna Rao, President, CREDA, Hyderabad, and also to my colleague, Mr. C. Narayan Rao, Vice Chairman, IACC, AP and TS, Mr. Saurabh Jain, Vice Chairman, IACC, AP and TS. A brief about IACC for the benefit of members. Indo-American Chamber of Commerce is an apex bilateral chamber synergizing India-US economic engagement. The major objective of IACC is to promote Indo-American business, trade and economic relations. IACC APNDS branch at Hyderabad serves to both Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. We work closely with the government of Telangana, government of Andhra Pradesh, US Consulate Hyderabad and other major institutions. We have been organizing a number of events or webinars for our members, and you can get the information on these and various forthcoming events on IACC website, iaccindia.com. Please feel to write to us with your ideas and suggestions, guiding the chamber to design and execute new age activities to assist members. So the purpose of today's webinar is what is sustainability, what is a green building. I think most of you are aware what is a green building. The certification for green building is just to mitigate the damage that is causing because of this construction on its surroundings. So that is the main objective of green building certification. So what is sustainability? So again, this is also related to green concepts. The project should be able to sustain and survive during its lifetime with all these environmental friendly measures. Contrary to so many people's assessment that green buildings will cost more, no. If you plan in the beginning, the cost of green building is on par with the regular building. And it also makes business sense because green buildings, if it is commercial, it will fetch more premium. And for residential projects also, it will have an edge compared to normal building in terms of marketability. So what are the main components for this for building sector? One is land and the other one is finance. So when actually we are talking about green buildings, we need actually finance for construction. For a normal building, normal construction is available, but because the construction industry is not in priority sector, getting funding is difficult. So the ideas today's webinar was, if this funding is available freely, we can attract more and more developers to go for green building certification and construction of buildings with green building concepts. So that is the main idea. So I request all of you actually to give your inputs during today's session. Over to Shika.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now I request Mr. C. Narayan Rao, Vice Chairman of IACC APTS branch and also CFO of Divyashree NSL Infrastructure Private Limited, to give theme address and also to introduce the speakers of today's session. Please, sir.
Yeah, good evening once again, everybody. Today's topic is a typical one, and then it requires a lot of attention because of the environment, climate changes, and the new areas of developing power or the sustainable green building concepts, etc. Financing the projects varies depending on the type of project we take up. It may be a real estate project or a factory or a power project or a hydroelectric project or a pure construction project. But because now today's topic is being financing for sustainable projects, the investment in sustainable projects worldwide estimated to be around 5 trillion, and it may go up to 7 trillion also per annum from 2015 to 2030, which I mean, that much volume is required. Given the impacts of COVID-19 and its economic devastation, this gap is likely to magnify. And investment continues to dwindle unless both public and private sector collaborate and step forward. Public finance accounts to around 75% of the current infrastructure investment, and public finance in that accounts for 75%, with private capital flows coming mainly in the form of commercial loans. Private finance could need to scale up to meet the financing levels needed to achieve the sustainable agenda. In consideration of that, the capital market is best placed to ensure efficient mobilization of private sector investment to complement public funding also. These processing funding needs, coupled with greater awareness and appreciation of the sustainable agenda, has led to the acceleration of the growth momentum of sustainable financing globally. Financial products such as green bonds or social bonds are globally recognized as a means to channel funds to sustainable projects. These financial instruments are structured similarly with their vanilla counterparts, except that the use of the proceeds are to fund infrastructure or projects that produce environment or socially beneficial to the world at large. A general approach to sustainable financing is organizations have a wide range of options to choose from when financing a project with sustainable objectives. An optional financing structure would be influenced by various factors, such as the size of the organization, project-specific requirements, and market conditions. Adapted from the Climate Bond Initiative's Green Financial Instruments Guide, this guide aims to highlight the general steps to raise finance for sustainable projects without considering the details of different financing structures. The following steps can be taken up, like development a green or social or sustainable asset strategy and process. Step 2 would be determine the appropriate source of financing. Step 3 could be deal structuring. Step 4, debt organization. And step 5, post issuance of reporting. Now today, our speakers, Mr. Anand and Sunil Chandra Reddy Garu, will throw a light on this sustainable financing of the projects. I will let you know the brief about our today's speakers. Mr. Anand has been elected as Vice Chair of World GBC's Asia Pacific Region Network on 1st July 2021. He is a green building professional at CII. He is a principal counselor and a senior team member of CII's India Green Building Council since 1996. He has work experience planning over 30 years. Anand is closely involved in facilitating government architects, developers, corporate and institutions in designing green buildings as per IGBC norms, green building rating systems. Anand shares India's perspective on green building and building environment at World Green Building Council's forums and has attended meetings, sessions since 2004 at Australia, Brazil, Canada, Dubai, Germany, Hong Kong, Indonesia, Mauritius, Philippines, Singapore, etc., etc. Guinness World Records has awarded Anand with certification of participation as a speaker in 2019. He is also TED speaker. He brings to fore his rich and varied experience and expertise on green building, environment, and sustainability. He has trained professionals on green building concepts and has conducted more than 250 training programs on green building all over the country and in Singapore and Dubai. He was instrumental in launching over 100 IGBC students chapters in premier architectural and engineering colleges across India. He has authored several technical articles on energy efficiency, green buildings. His technical articles under the title, The Green Building Movement in India, is being featured in ISH RAE journal since 2014. He is leading a team of over 60 professionals who are involved in the spread and growth of green building movement in India. For that matter, Anand, we have constructed around 9 buildings and all our structures were IGBC gold rated buildings.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And coming to Mr. B. Sunil Chandra Reddy, Mr. Reddy is presently the managing partner of Sunil Constructions. He has over 30 years experience in the construction industry, having completed several residential and commercial projects. Mr. Sunil is presently serving as the president of NAREDCO, Telangana Real Estate Developers Association, that actively contributes to the common good of the builders and developers community. He completed his bachelor's degree in commerce and thereafter did his master's in business administration. Mr. Sunil joined his family business in the construction sector and has grown to his current role. On the philanthropic side, he is a key participant in the NGO called Project 511, which has contributed substantially to the improvement of schools in Andhra Pradesh. He is a voracious reader and enjoys playing tennis. And coming back to our Shrikant Badiga, Group Director of Phoenix Group, plays a pivotal role in the Special Economic Zone sector by being on the panel of various central government panels and also on international panels. Mr. Badiga is on various committees and industrial bodies, which are enumerated below. Board of Director, Asia on World Free Zones Organization. His role in this organization encompasses OECD key panel members for curbing illicit trade practices. Voice out concerns on SEZ players of Asia region globally. Promote conducive environment facilitation for global trade. Member Baba Kalyani Committee on SEZs. Advisor and member Central Government Council EPCES. Chairman AICC APNTS earlier. Advisor TITA, where he helps promote IT development in Telangana State Jury at Vishwakarma Awards. First chairman of Association Telangana State Development Council, completed 3 terms tenure this year. Management committee member of Association. Mr. Badiga has been playing an active role in not only promoting SEZs, but also provide a wholesome structure through which all the stakeholders of SEZ benefits. It is his efforts which got recognized in the form of Phoenix winning the Best Business Model Award amongst the SEZs in the country. Mr. Badiga is passionate about promoting Telangana state in various forums, and his recent appointment as director on board with the World Free Trade Zone organization will provide him the right platform to project Telangana and the city of Hyderabad in international forums. And Mr. Ramkrishna Rao, a postgraduate in history, graduate in law, both degrees from Osmania University, in the business of real estate for about 3 decades, and presently he is the CREDAI president. And over to Shika.
Shika,
Thank you, sir. Thank
Sandeep
you.
introduction.
Sandeep introduction, I could not do it. I didn't have the information. Yeah.
No worries. I'll do that myself. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the brief introduction of the speakers. Now I request Mr. M. Anand, Principal Councillor, CII's India Green Building Council, to kindly start the presentation. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And we in IGBC are very proud to be part of the IACCC, one of the lovely sessions. Hope my slides and are visible as well as my voice is audible.
Yeah, both are okay, Anand. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So we in IGBC has put in some thoughts based on the last 22 years of working with all the stakeholders. I will keep it very brief. Before getting into financing, I would love to present about the green buildings for the brief 5 minutes, so that I don't know somebody is listening to us to set the tone. So about the Indian Green Building Council of CII. So we started in year 2001 by the CII, which is celebrating 127 years of service to the country. So the green building word was not so popular in year 2001. So we in IGBC are very proud to be associated with various developers and builders from CREDAI and Aradco. Ever since we got this particular piece of a land from the unified Andhra Pradesh and Telangana in those days in 2001. So IGBC is formed by CII with the support of the government, architects, developers, and the various stakeholders. So the vision of the Indian Green Building Council, again, the developers were involved in defining what this council should do. So it has been beautifully articulated, which enhances our everyday impact and our activities also to enable a sustainable built environment for all. When we say all in IGBC, it goes beyond the human beings, every living being on the planet Earth, flora and fauna inclusive. So in the process, with the support of all the stakeholders, we want India to become one of the global leaders in sustainable built environment by 2025. So that is the objective with which the council was started way back in 2001. So we are also a founding member of World Green Building Council since 2004. So this is our own office, wherein many of our colleagues from Hyderabad, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana would have visited. Nevertheless, I would love to present it. So this is the world's greenest building title. We earned it way back in year 2003. And this is India's first platinum rated project, inaugurated by then President, His Excellency late Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Saab. So after that, we have never looked back. Though we have got the world's greenest building title, we have never stayed on the enhancing on the energy efficiency. We have improved upon on many things. In the last 15 years, we have done many things on the air conditioners, lighting, and very recently, 3 years ago, we have installed, having improved upon the energy efficiency to the highest level possible. We have incorporated 140 kilowatt of bifacial solar PV. As you could see, this is the first time in the country we installed, which has made our building a net zero energy building since 2019. The Principal Secretary for the Government of Telangana, he unveiled the flag of IGBC headquarters building in Hyderabad going as a net zero energy. So what it started as a one building in Hyderabad with the support of all the stakeholders. Today, as I'm talking to you all, IGBC has more than 7,000 plus projects across the country, with right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from Kohima to Kutch, cutting across all the climatic zones, amounting to 8.18 billion square feet. So we in IGBC, with the support of stakeholders, we aspire India should achieve 10 billion square feet by 2022. That is this year. So how do we define a green building? Whether it is a residential project or an infrastructure project or a developer-driven multi-dwelling unit or a commercial office or a corporate office building. This is how a definition goes, which again inspires developers and architects and material manufacturers and nodal agencies. A green building is the one, as far as IGBC is concerned, should conserve natural resources. So be it flora and fauna or Hyderabad, since we are talking from Hyderabad, Hyderabad is not only known for biryanis, pearls, and Golconda forts and Charminars, it is known for the natural rock formation. As you could see, Mr. Narayan Rao mentioned about 10 of his projects adopting IGBC rating program, how they preserve the natural rocks, flora and fauna in the given site, whatever they got. So that is where we start from. Even we not even we'll come to the energy efficiency in the water at a later stage. So we give a lot of importance to conserve natural resources. Number two, usage of less water during construction and during occupancy. Third, optimizing energy efficiency. We will all appreciate the word optimizing is very important. We are not saying that every building should have all the measures of having a triple glazed glasses, having an air conditioner with the highest efficiency. We are not saying that. Optimize is a key word. Fourth one, it should generate less waste during construction and during occupancy. Fifth and the last one, but not the least one, is to provide a healthier spaces for each one of us living in a IGBC certified project. So it is not a rocket science to us. We need not look at any other country or the Western world to look what is a green building, because our own great grandfathers, thousands and thousands of years ago, they invented what we call it as a 5 elements of nature or Panchaputas, which is in our DNA. So whatever I said earlier, the definition of green buildings, which is addresses on the site, water, energy, materials, and indoor air quality, is completely aligned with our ancient wisdom of 5 elements of nature, Panchaputas. So green buildings are not alien to India. So as I said earlier, when we started working with the designers and the developers, our focus was mainly on the energy efficiency in the 2000s, early 2000. Whereas we are not given enough importance to the what kind of a paint I am using, what kind of a water fixture I'm using, what kind of an adhesive I'm using, what kind of a daylight, what kind of a views my buildings and built environment are providing. So that is the reason IGBC has become a key agency and institution which are able to galvanize all of us together in order to address the environmentally holistic and integrated way on, like what we have 5 fingers in our palm, on the site related issues, the water, energy, materials, and indoor air quality. So what a green building makes a difference before we get into finance. Externally, every green building, if you walk into any of the buildings designed by of Mr. Narayan Rao or Phoenix or GMR Airport, which is also a IGBC certified project, every one of them externally look the same. Building operation wise, a green building and a conventional building is the same. But where is the difference? The difference, when you get into the micro level details of a green building, there is a substantial amount of operational savings from right from the day one if it is a greenfield project. Whether it is a residential building of our own chairman, Mr. Vijay Sai, Meka's SS Green, or any project for that matter, there is a substantial reduction of the energy, substantial reduction in the water right from the day one. So that is the biggest difference. Second, we conserve all the naturals. We are able to see it in the photograph, our own IGBC headquarters, how we are able to preserve all the natural rocks, which are all much older than the language what we speak actually. So we are give enormous amount of importance. There is a second difference. Third one, the human comfort and productivity and indoor environment is given enormous amount of importance in our own rating programs. So IGBC is the only council in the whole world, even World Green Building Council has acknowledged right from the beginning in 2001, we know every building typology is different. So what is applicable for a residential project may not be applicable for a Hyderabad metro, or what is coming up as in the high-tech city on the data center is not, it's completely different. That is the reason we have a different rating programs for different building typologies. An affordable housing project of 400 square feet, 600 square feet, each dwelling unit is completely different from a home also. We are the only one to have an exclusive rating program for homes and affordable homes, 2 different ones. For the last 3 years, based on our green building experience since 2001, we have entered into the net zero also. So this year is full, this decade is going to be a full year of deployment on based on our last 20 years of collective wisdom and knowledge on the net zero energy, net zero water, net zero waste. So IGBC rating programs are able to enhance their effectiveness, the resource efficiency, bring in more and more enhancement on the comfort levels. And it is very simple in terms of understanding and approach as the stakeholders they say. Number 2, it demands the best from an architect, developer, designer, contractor, and end users also. It demands the best. So as a developer, once I register with a project with IGBC, I'm able to get the best out of the best from the consultants and architects involved and the contractors involved in my project. Third one, though it is able to save enormous amount of energy and water within the fence, since my building IGBC certified project consumes less energy, less water, less resources, it has a profound impact beyond my boundary of my building actually. So that has a profound impact in terms of the environmental benefits. So these are the three things which is very, very unique to IGBC's rating program. So number one, I will not go into the details because IACC has given me a T20 version of the time of only 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So sustainable architecture and design is being highlighted unlike any of the other rating programs in the whole world actually. So by design, we wanted to design every building which are all climate responsive and in harmony with the environment, in harmony with the nature in and around the site we have, so that our energy demand, water demand comes down to the lowest ever possible by design. So this is how we start from. This is the foundation stone and a cornerstone. Next is on the sustainable sites, many measures how to preserve the topsoil. Now we are talking about a very big movement globally happening about preserve the soil. So we are launched at 2001 onwards, how the topsoil, which has enormous amount of rich micronutrients, which has taken 500 years to come. So we start from that to avoid the outdoor light, which pollutes, heat island effect, impact on the mitigation measures on the roof, on the non-roof at a macro level. We are the first one to bring in the waterless urinals. First waterless urinal is installed in our own IGBC headquarters in Hyderabad in 2001. So by design, we are getting into ultra low flow fixtures in every single project of IGBC rating programs on the water. Third most important element is energy. Our own speakers, subsequent speakers will also speak about energy efficiency, because energy efficiency is very important, especially in the last 2 months. We are not able to get the coal. We are dependent on enormous amount of oil from elsewhere that is causing huge impact on our exchequer. So energy efficiency is addressed in all our IGBC rating program. So without compromising on the comfort level, we are not saying that we have to get suffocated in a 45 degrees centigrade, not like that. Thermal comforts, visual comforts, everything has to be met. Still, our project has to consume less energy. Fourth is on materials. We are the first one to launch the Green Pro for various products. So we are pleased to mention that 4,300 projects, steel, paint, steel, all of them are available, which has a eco-friendliness and green quotient also. Fifth one is an indoor environmental quality. Even before COVID, right from the 2001, we are addressing the health and well-being in a larger way. The daylight and the fresh air are the best sanitation one can think of in a commercial office or in a villa project or an apartment. So this is another, again, a cornerstone. Indoor environmental quality, which enhances the comfort level, health and well-being of occupants, is being addressed since we started in 2001. It has become more so important and pertinent after the COVID crisis has come. So by design, every developer or a corporate adopting our rating program that has a greater impact on the people, on the positive side, on the profit, as well as on the planet. So when you are looking in for a financial incentives, we are not only the project owners or the developers or the end users are not only getting the reduced energy bill, reduced water bill, reduced operating costs on the economical, there is a huge environmental benefit because our buildings, for example, 1 million square feet of a commercial space certified by IGBC has a connected load of only 5 to 7 megawatt per million square feet. Whereas conventional building, it could be anywhere as high as 10 to 12 megawatt. So there is enormous amount of environmental benefit because we are going to consume less coal or oil to be burnt in our power plants. The emissions are going to come down, the environmental benefits, societal benefits. We are creating more awareness amongst the end users. It is going to help enhance the health and well-being of the occupants, boost the local economy also. We are also equally concerned about the workers, livelihoods, artisans also involved in many of the IGBC projects to bring in their own uniqueness. So there is an economical benefit, environmental benefit, and social benefit when we adopt the IGBC rating program principally. So the green measures, more than 7,000 projects are going live, and 3,000 of them are already certified. Enormous amount of green features. What you see, these are all not a computer generated view. These are all live pictures. So we need more and more financial support with all the stakeholders who are part of the panel also, they will show more light on it. So as far as the financial institutions are concerned, we have a very strong association with various institutions. So we are the first one to sign an MOU with the RBI's National Housing Bank, popularly known as NHB, in 2013 itself. So that whereas $1 million has been given to the end users to encourage people to buy a green certified apartments or the residential units. So 90% of the first lot of the money which came through the RBI, through the lending agency, has gone to the IGBC certified projects. Based on the success, we have renewed it in November 2019, and it is encouraging and it is going in leaps and bounds. So you're able to see our own, the very proud moment wherein we are the first one to engage with the financial institutions. In 2013 itself, our own Dr. Premsi Jain, late chairman, exchanging with the then Mr. Roy from the National Housing Bank. And we are also very recently, we got the first line of credit worth of 150 million euros. And 90% of them has been distributed to the IGBC green home projects and the end users. Similar financing also is available through the Chandra program, wherein we had many sessions in Hyderabad also launched in association with the AFD from France. So I'll not go into the details. AFD is going to bring in another 537 crores of money, or equivalent of the euros 100 million. ADB, we are closely working with them. We are extremely happy with our rating program, how we revise it, the process, the handholding is very important. The strength of IGBC is it is not only registering and certifying like any other agency. So how we handhold every single project is a very unique way. The climate bond initiatives, we are also closely working with them through the World GBC's association and others. We are able to penetrate much better using the CBI. CBA stands for Climate Bonds Initiative as far as green building is concerned. And we also have many MOU partners who are very happy with the way in which IGBC has worked with the support of stakeholders like you all for the last 20 years. For example, we have signed an MOU with the Punjab National Bank, the India Info Line, popularly known as IIFL, for the cheaper loans for both for the buyers of the flats as well as HDFC Limited. We are an MOU partner. Both for the construction financing is also available, to name a few. So to put it in a nutshell, because of the want of time, there is enormous amount of traction from the financial sector also, to name a few: KfW from the Germany, AFD from France, and IIFL, and SIDBI. SIDBI is also offering enormous amount of financial incentives for IGBC certified projects. Apart from the financial incentives, many of the government agencies and the nodal agencies in state of Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, if any project is adopting IGBC in Uttar Pradesh, they will be getting a 5% to 10% more FSI. That is also, if you convert it into your financial terms, instead of 100 dwelling units, I may construct 110 dwelling units, because these projects are all green per se in Rajasthan, Punjab, and many state governments. I'll not go into the details. Again, I'm very glad we have representatives from CREDAI and NAREDCO also. We are an MOU partner with the CREDAI, NAREDCO, and Builders Association of India and various institutions. So we have a very strong relationship with them, who are all guiding us. What is good for the country, what is good for the people is our prime objective as far as IGBC is concerned. To sum it up, ladies and gentlemen, IGBC's rating programs are aligned with the global green building trends, which talks about the climate action, number one, health and well-being, number two, resources or circularity, wherein we need more and more finances for building a better future. So it is completely aligned. So as you heard very briefly, because of the want of time, I literally ran through. You are able to see enormous amount of case studies on eco-friendly projects, and products are available in abundance in India as we are talking. What we link is through the green funds, through the ESG linked finance, if we are able to get it from the right side, together we can create a more sustainable, greener planet. So the green financing, green funding will make more and more project owners to enhance the specification, get it to the next level of net zero, which can eventually land up in a greener future. So we in IGBC are all available for every support in order to take it to the government policy or the financial institutions to attract more and more financial incentives for green building projects in India. So thank you very much. I am available for any further questions, queries. Over to you, madam.
Thank you, Mr. Anand. Thank you so much for such a detailed presentation and so informative address. Now I take this opportunity to introduce our esteemed speaker, Mr. Sandeep Singh, Business Development Lead, South Asia Edge Green Building Program, IFC, World Bank Group. Mr. Sandeep Singh is a seasoned industry leader specializing in real estate investments and real estate development. He has over 26 years of work experience in India and the US, and has been working in CSO's roles over a decade. He has worked with leading companies such as SBRE, Cushman and Wakefield, and Mahindra Life Spaces. Passionate about environmental sustainability, Mr. Sandeep is currently working as a senior consultant with the International Finance Corporation, which is a part of the World Bank Group. Mr. Sandeep holds a BArch degree from the School of Planning and Architect, New Delhi, and an MBA degree from University of Georgia, USA. I request Mr. Sandeep Singh to kindly give detailed presentation. Over to you, sir. And I really apologize for the miss, sir. I'm really sorry. Over to you, Sandeep, sir.
Sorry about the delay. Thanks so much, Shikha. Let me share my screen again. I had shared it, but then I was trying to figure out how to unmute myself. So that's the problem. It seems when you have two screens, it becomes a bit of a problem. Okay, so voice audible, screen visible?
Yes, sir. Perfect.
Okay, thank you. All right, so, very interesting presentation from Igbc before this. I think a lot of aspects on the green building were covered. What I will do is I will try and focus it on some of the international flavor that we can bring to the table, being IFC, and talk a little bit about IFC's EDGE, which is a green building program that IFC has. And it is a relatively new green building certification system, but very, very versatile, scalable, and globally recognized. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Just as to lay out the context, total greenhouse gases emitted globally, almost 40% of it comes from the building sector. And we all know climate is such a big crisis, and 40% almost is coming from the building sector, from the construction side, from the operation side, more from operation than from construction. And buildings account for almost half of all electricity consumption for heating, cooling in various parts of the world. Now, when you juxtapose this fact with another estimate that by the year 2060, the world will have doubled its existing floor space. So whatever floor space exists in the world will double that. And when we build new buildings will lock in either the efficiency or the inefficiency that they get built with. So it is very, very important that we focus on whatever we are building to build as green, because bulk of this development will happen in countries like India in the emerging markets. The global narrative for decarbonization has become very, very strong in the last few years. Lots of financial institutions globally have committed to decarbonization. Lots of companies have committed to decarbonization. In fact, what has happened is if the top end of the global economic hierarchy, the global pension funds, sovereign funds, they have all committed to investing in green. For instance, I was talking to the head of CPPIB and also Ivanhoe Cambridge, and the question was that, normally funds have these allocations for green projects and sustainability. What are their allocations? And the answer was that as of last couple of years, they have adopted a wider ESG parameter, and everything that they invest in the building sector has to be green. So from the investors side, there's a lot of push that's coming in. Just a quick background about what is IFC. We are part of the World Bank Group. IBRD is generally referred to as the World Bank, which focuses on the governments of various emerging countries. IFC focuses on emerging markets, private sector, for the purposes of development. So in one line, that's what we are. We are a development finance institution. But when we, maybe about a decade back, when we realized that a lot of our investments were going into the building sector. And because of climate change, a lot of the development progress that we made was getting reversed because of climate disasters. People were being made homeless. They were being pushed back into poverty. So we decided that we have to tackle the climate aspect very strongly. And as I said, 40% of it comes from the global greenhouse gases, comes from the building sector. We decided to take it, to the core of how we do business. So we have a four-pronged strategy on green buildings. So we invest directly with banks and financial institutions who then downstream roll out their green financial products to their investees. For instance, we lent about $250 million last year to HDFC, which was for affordable housing, and about $62 million was earmarked only for green affordable housing. We also invest directly with developers. So a lot of our clients are, Purvankara, Shapurji, Joyville, Signature Global, a lot of these affordable housing companies, and also on the commercial side, Indospace, and several other companies. So all of these names that I'm taking, they are all clients of Edge, and they have adopted green buildings. Sometimes we even handhold in various countries and municipalities, handhold the governments for the policy making and incentive definitions. And at the center of all this is our EDGE certification. EDGE is available globally, about 35 million square meters certified, 65 million square meters pipeline. And if you look at this graph here, it's the classic hockey stick curve. We are growing exponentially, almost at a CAGR of 100% in all countries. And so we are the new entrant in this space, whereas others have been for more than 2 decades. But we are the fastest growing green building certification. And I'll talk about what this certification is. This certification is actually two-pronged. One part is the certification. Then we also have a web-based tool, which is very, very user-friendly and has a strong, robust technology backbone. I'll talk about it in just a few minutes. So coming to the topic of the day, green finance. As I mentioned, the global narrative for green and sustainability has become very, very strong. So the global definitions are, when you're talking green, anything that protects the environment is green. But if you have a social angle involved into it, and then that's how you define sustainable. EDGE is accepted by all leading green finance institutions as a standard for green buildings. So whether it's ICMA, whether it's GRESB, Climate Bonds Initiative, Carbon Disclosure Project, EU Taxonomy, all of them accept EDGE as a standard. EDGE is available for all building types that you can think of. Other than heavy industry, anything that you can think of, all building types are covered. We have certified stadiums, we have certified airports globally. So anything that you can think of. Now, staying with the green finance angle, Mr. Vijay had initially said that these are the steps of green finance. What is green finance? It's like any other finance. It can be a construction loan, it can be a bond, just that it has, compared to a normal financing, it has an added layer of conditionality. So when a company is looking to raise or issue green bonds, they have to define that conditional layer of green, that the proceeds will be used for green purposes. Now, defining green, that can become very tedious for something that is accepted by all global investors and the recipient of the funding together. But EDGE can totally streamline that. You can all you have to do is set the criteria as all the proceeds of this green bond will be used for EDGE certified projects. Edge is also used several times, mostly in IFC's own investments as a second opinion. Now, finally comes the compliance part, and that is also when you have to demonstrate that you have complied with the conditions of financing. All you have to do is produce the EDGE certificate to your investors, and you have demonstrated your compliance. Now, lastly, but not the least, this is one of the most important things. EDGE gives you direct carbon impact reporting on the fly. The EDGE tool allows you to see the carbon impact in terms of total carbon emissions of the building and the carbon savings compared to the baseline directly live on the fly as you do your calculations on the EDGE tool. So that is a main requirement for all green finance institutions, and that is something that you get with EDGE. A lot of global financial institutions have accepted EDGE as a standard for green buildings, and also something that they understand has added to their own funnel of investees. For lack of time, I have a few case studies. I'll just go through them quickly, and then we can pass on. So Bancolombia, which is the largest bank in Colombia, raised $400 million in through green bonds over 3 issuances. And the criteria was that all the proceeds will eventually go into either green or sustainable projects. And they adopted EDGE as a standard for green buildings. So when they rolled out their downstream financial products, there was a cost arbitrage to their borrowers up to a 2% reduction in cost of construction finance and up to 65 basis point reduction in green home loans. WDP is a Belgian REIT. For their properties in Romania, they issued green bonds, and about $800 million of green financing was raised with the help of IFC. And all of these light industrial and warehousing buildings are being certified with EDGE. So EDGE has been the criteria in all of these financing situations. Vinte became the first housing developer in Latin America to issue a sustainability bond. And they are a affordable housing developer, and homes feature solar technologies. And they were also winner of Fortune magazine's Shared Value Initiative listing companies that changed the world. Earthaland, one of the leading office developers in Philippines, this is their headquarters, Century Pacific Tower. And Earthaland raised about $60 million through green bond. And this particular building is the first EDGE zero carbon building in the world. So they have, not only they have more than 40% energy savings, but whatever remainder of energy requirements is being fulfilled through renewables. Closer home, HSBC invested about $130 million for Indo-Space's portfolio of warehouses. And these were, the criteria again was EDGE certified warehouses. In India, the momentum is picking up for green bonds. Although on the real estate side, it is yet to happen, but there are several companies that have started doing. In fact, one pleasant surprise was Ghaziabad Municipal Corporation raising some green bonds last year. This is another case study in Hyderabad. One of our clients, GMR, Saurabh is here on the panel. So this is their fulfillment center. Amazon is the tenant, and if you look at the amount of savings, this is probably one of the best examples of how resource efficient can a building be. So 77% energy savings, 84% water savings, and 70% savings in the embodied carbon of the materials. So I'll talk a little bit about EDGE certification itself. It has 3 levels. If you save more than 20% in these three items. So EDGE is laser focused on resource efficiency. We focus on energy, water, and embodied energy in the material. If you're doing better by 20% or more in each of these, you get EDGE certified. Water and materials remaining the same. If you save more than 40% on energy, then you get EDGE advanced. And these two are one-time certifications. They are design levels. Of course, there will be site audit and very stringent audits process, but you don't need to renew these two. The final frontier is EDGE Zero Carbon, which is an add-on over and above EDGE Advanced. So once you are EDGE Advanced, saving 40% in energy, the remainder of your energy requirement, if that is fulfilled through renewables, then you qualify for EDGE Zero Carbon. If there are any gaps in that, you can fulfill that gaps by purchase of carbon offsets also. So like I said, EDGE is not just a certification, it is also a web-based tool. The tool is free for anyone globally to use. All you have to do is log in with an email ID and start evaluating your building. So on the back end, there is a very robust database which has data from multiple cities across the globe. Just to give you a sense, in India, we cover 65 cities. So, while most of the real estate discussions and the operations and the companies that we're talking about, we talk about 6, 7, 8, 9, around, maybe less than 15 for sure. 65 cities are covered. So that is on the back end. On the front end, it's a very user-friendly interface, which is as simple as picking and choosing off the menu card. But once you actually take a look, you will realize that each of these simple things can be fine-tuned to the last degree. There are 4 tabs here, which you have to fill out. So once you fill out your design tab, the software creates a base case scenario for you. And once you pick and choose your green features from the left-hand side, the improved case shows you how much savings you are doing. And this is all color coded. So for instance, this is on the energy side. So all the components that go into the energy consumption, they are all color coded here. And on top, there is a dashboard, which gives you not only the 3 parameters, savings of energy, water, and materials, but it also has a financial calculator. Now, this is a very potent design tool. If you use this tool right at the design stage, you can get, like Mr. Vijay said right in the beginning, the misperception is that green buildings are costly, but that is not the case. But unfortunately, that is the biggest misconception that we have to battle in order to mainstream the green buildings. So in our experience, the incremental cost can be anywhere between 0 to 3%, depending on how soon you start adopting the green practices in the design stage itself. So there is a financial calculator that gives you your savings in the utility cost on a monthly or a yearly basis, your increase in the capital expenditure, and basis these two, your payback period is also calculated. So your not only savings in percentage terms, but also in actual terms. And as I mentioned, the very important thing, it gives you your carbon savings and carbon emissions report as well. The process is very simple. If you can do it at any stage of the building, if the building is complete, you don't need to go in for the preliminary certificate. But if the building is in design stage, then you can register and there will be a design audit. Basis that, you will get a preliminary certificate, and basis the preliminary certificate, you can raise green finance. You can do all your advertisements. And then when the building is complete, there will be a site audit, and then you can get your EDGE certification, final certificate. And after 1 year of operation, if you're aiming for zero carbon, there has to be monitoring for about 1 year. When you certify with IFC's EDGE, you don't deal with IFC directly. to remove any conflict of interest, we have appointed third-party globally reputed certifiers and auditors who then certify an audit. And we are the manager of the overall framework. So in India, like most other countries, we have two options. There is Sintelli SGS, which is a certifier auditor combo. And there is GBCI, which also certifies LEED and WELL and other certifications. And if you go with GBCI, you have to use one of their accredited auditors as well. One last slide, this is important because today there is a lot of talk about decarbonization and zero carbon. EDGE is a very potent tool to, at a portfolio level, to do your mapping for Paris-aligned path to zero carbon. So we can help you map at a building level and also at a portfolio level and plan your retrofit. So EDGE is very retrofit friendly as well. So you can plan your retrofits, you can get your financial cost estimates, and basis the path, the decarbonization path that you plan out, you can plan your retrofits around that. So one case study here is NEO, which recently certified for zero carbon a whole portfolio of about 7 buildings in Philippines. So this is their office portfolio. For lack of time, I think I'll just move on. This is absolutely the last slide. Just to summarize, EDGE is a very differentiated green building certification system and the tool. There is it is internationally recognized, especially amongst the green finance institutions, leading green finance institutions. There is a financial calculator which gives you incremental cost of capital expenditure and also your savings in utility costs. There is a laser focus on resource efficiency. So we focus only on that, and we are not a point-based system. We are actually a performance-based system. So we focus specifically on how your specific building is going to perform. The benefit of a robust database is that we don't lose the local context ever. So mid-income or an affordable housing building in Nagpur will be compared not to something that is in Bombay or in some other country. It will be compared to the local benchmarks, how the local market norm is, and you need to be 20% better than that. And because of the strong technology backbone, the process becomes very, very streamlined. And hence, compared to any other globally recognized certification, you save on a lot of cost and a lot of time also. So with that, I come to the end of my presentation. Back to you, Shikha.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for such a detailed presentation and such an educative address. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Now I request Mr. Shrikant Badiga, Group Director, Phoenix Group, and Vice President of Southern Regional Council, Indo-American Chamber of Commerce. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sandeep. That was very insightful and very thoughtful for all the entire industry. We have two main people here, Mr. Sunil and Mr. Ramakrishna, who are leading the industry from the front here. And most importantly, we as developers, it's not only about we as a developer, but last 4-5 years, our concentration, the global concentration is more about sustainability, how best we can utilize, how best we can save our resources, how best we can make and paint our buildings green. That is very important. In the recent past, when we're trying to develop some policy issues regarding our free trade zones as well, world free trade zones and CZs also, where the WTO said, they are okay with as long as you are providing some coming up with some construction with a sustainability driven thing, they're okay with giving incentives. So such is the thought process of the world. So we are moving in the very right direction. And thanks for IICC for organizing this kind of meet. And this should be more elaborative, more participation should be from the industry. because it's not only, see, end user is, it's not me as an individual, as a developer, but the people are making the products, the steel suppliers, the material suppliers, whoever mentioned them. So there are a lot of innovations going on, a lot of R&D going on throughout the world. End of the day, our intention is how long I'm going to help. What is I'm going to give back to the society in the form of green energy. So I'm talking about the next generation which is going to come up. It's not only we who are sustaining here, but this is going to be whatever we're going to contribute now in the form of construction or whatever. It is a gift we are giving to our next generation. That is very important here. So I could see the main subject about here about how do we finance. Yes, even as a developer company, me, Mr. Rao, and all my other developer colleagues are also looking for how do we make it come up with a package. How do we make it a package, and how do we present the case is the question. Probably I will write to you people separately. Like, how do we raise finance? Which are the areas we can project and say, apart from the platinum rated building, green rated building, and all these things, which is the area where you can take assistance of global firms or firms like your firms to finance this. Of course, we are not capturing that, but that would certainly help in our recurring costs. For example, when I talk about a platinum building, the kind of energy I'm saving, especially the power part of it when I'm using solar. But at the same time, to manufacture the solar, there are different products involved. What am I doing? So it's a chain of products. This is a chain. It's a forward integration and backward integration. So the moment I could come up and understand the 360 degrees of this particular gamut of renewable energy, I'm sure we can come with better solutions. Now, coming back to my thing of looking at things is, yes, certainly for all the projects, if I'm able to extend some kind of incentivized package by giving a contract to my my vendors, basically the people who construct my building, contractors, you need to educate them also. See, these are the areas where you can certainly use these materials, and these are the firms who are coming forward to give you funding, or otherwise for what are materials you're using in the future is going to like earlier we used to have this carbon ratings and we used to trade on that. So we need to understand, do we have any other system of such a similar kind of thing which would replace carbon ratings and trade up on this? So it's kind of encouragement. See, we as a developers, we understand that for it's not only for saving on the building or any other energy, but it is what we're supposed to do as a responsibility towards the society. So that we're doing. But the moment you people come in, like IGBC and IFC come in and project, so these are the ways, these are the products where we can start financing, start funding or encouraging. We as a developers also can do that and talk in different platforms. Added to that, now WTO also the projects, the industrial projects which have more number of products, which can bring in more number of services, which are sustainable in nature. They're allowing the governments to give income tax, direct and indirect tax holidays also. So the central government, the Minister of Commerce is also considering in the similar lines. Because if you can see our SEZ, because I belong from the SEZ fraternity, with Saurabh, Mr. C and we all we are right now, we are a bit tied up and we got strained because of they removed the income tax benefit. But at the same time, there is a good news that the same WTO said, yes, government can consider the projects, industrial projects in special economic zones who are getting into good practices of coming with sustainable energies kind of a thing. So here where we require your help to come up with a package and present to the government. So I'll stop here and probably I'll share more views when I hear from my other leaders, Mr. Sunil ji and Mr. Ramakrishna. Over to you, Shikha. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your address. Now I request Mr. Sunil Chandra Reddy, President, NEDCO, Telangana Association. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Shikha. Firstly, I'd like to thank both Anand and Sandeep for the very exhaustive and comprehensive presentations made. we'll be thankful if we can circulate it to us so that we can forward it to our members. The IGP presentation was exhaustive, so was the IFC. We learned so many things about your edge certification and all these various financing models, and it will educate several of our developers. But if you don't mind, kindly share the presentations with us. We will circulate it to all our members. Of course,
Absolutely.
thank you so much. Of course, the figures given by Rao Garu about $5 to $7 trillion is quite scary. And how much of it is in place is only time will tell us. Of course, we are now coming out of the COVID situation. As far as medium and small developers are concerned, I'm sure a lot of large developers are going in for certifications and platinum or whatever certificate. Hello.
Voice break was Sunil.
Now, is it better now or not?
Yeah, probably if you can close the video, the audio would be more clear.
Oh, okay. Oh, switch off. Switch off video. Is it? Am I audible now?
Yes.
Oh,
Please.
oh. Yeah. Now I was basically talking about some of the medium and slightly smaller developers. Most of the developers realize that the focus in real estate is also towards sustainable homes. Sustainable homes obviously benefit the environment and the owners. And a lot of developers are now certainly looking at rainwater harvesting models. And they're also investing in water saving plumbing fixtures and renewable solar energy, water saving devices, LED lights, and a lot of us are also concentrating on the green power. These are some of the integral parts that developers are taking up to be more in tune with the environment. Of course, a lot more needs to be done, but for a start, several medium-sized developers are looking at all these ways of saving the environment. And of course, there are several challenges as far as green funding is concerned, like one slide which was a little surprising was, the slide of the funding of IFC. Only HDFC Bank figured in that list. If you look at all the banks that were reflected in the slide shown
No,
by
sir, that's
IFC
not the case, sir. HDFC was one example. HDFC was only one example I gave. There was no list. There are many, offline. I can send you, the total volume numbers. In fact, IFC, in terms of green financing, we have done $10 billion globally of green bonds. So offline I can connect with you and share with you more details.
Sure.
Mr. Sandeep, actually, sorry, Sunil. Sandeep, actually, you touched upon the right point where Sunilji was trying to say. Probably after this meeting, we may need request Reddy and Credit to have one more bigger section on this, where we need the sources of financing and process of financing also. So Sunil has touched upon the right point actually. Please continue, Sunilji.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry, Gautam, if I've misread your slide, but definitely we would again request you to maybe one of these days give us a physical presentation, because every month we have our meetings, and we'll be more than happy to have Anand and obviously Gautam for sure, or one of your representatives if you can give us a presentation, it will educate our members a lot more about the green buildings. Of course, we've been having presentations from Igbc. They've been comprehensive presentations, but obviously the scare among most developers is what is the cost and how do we finance my green buildings. So we would be certainly looking forward to hearing from you. Obviously, there are some challenges, but in the, sustainability is a long-term goal. Sustainability is not something which is to be taken, which will be achieved in a year or two. And sustainability is a long-term goal. And if you know, the built area is going to be double in 2060, there is an urgent need to take up green buildings and sustainable buildings right now. So in the next couple of months, Mr. Vijay Sai and I would connect with both Igbc and IFC and request them to make a presentation to our members. Thank you very much, Shikha. Thank you for the time.
Mr. Sunil ji and Mr. Zika, I shared the presentation already to the email.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your address. Now I request Mr. Ramakrishna Rao, sir, President CREDIA, Hyderabad, to kindly give your address.
Good afternoon, friends. And I appreciate and thank IISCC to take this initiative on the subject and to have this webinar. And I will be slightly different from what all you are been speaking. Very, very knowledgeable, very insightful. Even few of us, I don't say, maybe myself, are not very aware that even a financing scheme or finance is available for green buildings. My suggestions would be, yes, all of us are at least in the know-how that the green buildings are the in thing now. People need to, graduate from what we are doing to the next level to build environmental dwellings and other structures. But fundamentally, what we lack is even a seasoned, I don't say seasoned, maybe an experienced developer like me was not nearly really aware that so many opportunities are there to finance this kind of buildings. Thank you, Sandeep, for that. And it's also very heartening to know that we have already invested $10 billion into this kind of buildings. But my request and my suggestion is to make this environmentally friendly buildings, sustainable buildings, more to create awareness. We need to focus more on that. Yes, finance is available, but people should be able to know, even for green buildings, there is a finance. So we should start from there. That's how we need, out of your 10 billions, if you, in a lighter vein, if you allocate a few millions of dollars towards this program, I'm not only lighter vein, I'm a bit serious about it.
So sir, can I just take one second to answer
please.
that? So the HDFC was just one example. So
Yeah.
we've invested with several developers directly. There are non-investee clients who are adopting Edge very wholeheartedly because they know that using this, not just through IFC, they can raise funds anywhere globally. So for instance, Tata recently certified the entire office portfolio. So almost, I think 7 million square feet were certified, all of them Edge advanced. And I'm sure there is a background thinking, and they recently tied up for a office platform with one of the large pension funds you probably have read. So in terms of, the HDFC example itself, if we go back to that, out of the $250 million, $62 million is reserved for green home loans. Now, what are green home loans? People who buy homes and take loans in projects that are green. So and I think more and more companies are adopting these, sort of allocations. And I think going forward, building green will not be something on the side as something that is very, exotic that one is doing. It is going to become norm, and we need to make it a norm because the regular buildings will not be made in coming times, and that's what the whole idea is. Sorry for interrupting.
No. You're welcome. It's a good suggestion. And precisely that's the whole idea, Sandeep, to create that awareness. Everyone, all of us, including the you people or the to whom you are financing, like HDFC and all other institutes, they should allocate some kind of money, or I don't say money, effort, to say that if you guys build these kind of buildings, there is a finance, there is an interest subsidy, there is other advantage. So a small fraction of the money should be earmarked for this mission. I say this is a mission. All of us are fully aware and abreast of the the pollution and the long-term and short-term effects, its harms it's going to cause in certain cities across in our country and globally we are experiencing. That is one thing. And other suggestion to Igbc kind of organizations is, already as my colleague Sunil said, a good number of buildings are already adopting environmental friendly practices. The material we use, maybe as my friend Vijay was mentioning, there are more than 24 kind of certification by Igbc. Somewhere they should start, it should fit into the basic minimum. If I am building with such and such materials and such and practices, automatically I should be able to get a certificate. Maybe the bottommost one or the one above that. So that's where. So people, the moment the certificate is obtained, and the certificating agency should say this: if you go next step, there's a finance available for you. So that's the incentive. So that's where we need to start. So that's one suggestion. And also the misnomer of this, as Vijay Sai was mentioning in his opening speech, the green buildings are going to cost much. So that also need to be dispelled. So as most of us are using the material and the practices which gives a minimum kind of certification. So that itself is, you have crossed the threshold. You're already, say, on a scale of 10, if you are on 20 or 30, so you're already there unknowingly, but you're not aware of it. That's where all of us, all the stakeholders need to walk that extra mile and create awareness. You're already there. You need not put extra efforts. If you put extra efforts, there are people like Sandeep who will give you an helping hand, and you can aspire for the next level of certification. So I think these are my thoughts on this subject. And also, when it comes to this, maybe it pertains to the building community. Certain practices should be made part and parcel of the building regulations by default while issuing the building permissions. Those things which we are already using should be part of that thing, like National Building Code, NBC. So these requirements should be made part of those other conditions. So automatically you fall into those categories. This is only to take the horse to water. Once it goes there, then it drinks water, and then the next step it aspires. So these are the kind of incentives or mostly awareness creation needs to be done. And I'm not sure globally or on a scale of 10, where does India stand in case of green buildings? Maybe not very high.
Number 2 in the world. Number 2 in the world. In terms of green building footprint, we are number 2 in the world.
So with the very reasonable amount of activity, if we are able to reach number 2, I think there's a lot of scope, a lot of opportunity to do, because maybe a few percentage of the buildings, as far as I know, are adopting these methods. Even even another 10, 15, 20% of the people adopt these methods, then I think nobody can beat us. There's going to be a huge gap between the one and the rank of 1, the rank 2. So these are my thoughts. I think we should be now working towards that. Another suggestion is, as Sunil has suggested, we need to have more of these programs, and you're all welcome to come to our meetings and address our people to create this awareness and offer them what all the advantages are available out there, and also dispel that mindset, the green building costs more. So thanks again for giving me this opportunity.
Yeah.
Sir, with Vijay sir, can I chip in, sir?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Rao. As you rightly said, for us, proving the green building, making an impact on the people, economy is more, with all collective wisdom and knowledge and the support of people like you only, we have done it in the last 20 years. Even we kept on knocking the doors of the banks and the nodal agencies for the incentives in terms of non-financial itself for several years. It's taken 10 years to do it, number 1. Number 2, IGBC also has 4 levels, as you rightly said. When you adopt the best of the best world-class green features, you are platinum. As many of us, Narayan Rao, Sunil, Garu, and everybody mentioned, then gold, national best, silver, and certified. As you rightly said, by design, many of the projects in AP and Telangana, when you adopt the scientific ways of the Vastus and others, and follow the building regulations, national building codes, and the commitment of the developers, I wanted to add value to my end users. Definitely, you will hit certified to silver level. We'll be more than happy to do that. Number 1. Number 2, our own office and auditorium is all available for all the IACC members. Next time, whenever you want to host a meeting, you can come and see what are the green features we are incorporated, as well as 100 engineers and architects are available. Though we believe in online and other measures, it is at the end of the day, seeing is believing. Actually, we always would love to meet now in person. Actually, so we have a rich experience. Third is our reach and range is now. We are talking about more than 1,000 cities and towns. We are talking about the remotest villages in the Jammu and Kashmir, Andaman Nicobars, way deep inside the Shillong. We are working with various stakeholders. So we in IGBC will be more than happy to work with the AACC, FREDI, NERETCO, and BA members to take it up to the next level, because we always believe in adding value, and green makes business sense is the tag of IGBC since 2001. So we'll be more than happy to join your hands, Mr. Rao and Mr. Sunil and the entire IACC team. Over to you, Srikant.
Yeah, Mr. Saurabh.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, keeping a tab of the time, I think a lot of people are asking questions and putting their comments. If we can quickly go to the Q&A session.
Yeah, before that, I want to add 2-3 points. For the benefit of members, IGBC is also having another Green Pro certification. See, when we want to construct green buildings, we need to actually use green certified materials. So that is where actually we will start apart. So there are about more than 400 certified products by IGBC Green Pro.
Sorry, sir, 4,300.
4,800, yeah. Green Pro products that are available, you can see everything on IGBC website. So that actually so many people, even if they're not going for certification, they can actually buy these materials also and help the environment. The other one, Ramakrishna pointed out about these measures should be incorporated by most of the developers, green building initiatives. See, when actually a discussion happened about 10 years back, whether we approach the government to make it mandatory, majority of the members opine that these should be voluntary, because only when the developers are coming voluntarily to take up this, they will do it with the passion. The moment it is mandatory by the state governments for the sake of certification, like what we are doing, rainwater harvesting certification is mandatory now. For the sake of certification, we are showing something, they are not effective. So the voluntary approach that helps Igbc to reach this stage till now greatly. And I think the recent NBCC code incorporated most of these green building certification initiatives in the program. I think now, Shikha, you can open this with question and answers.
Just before going to the question and answers, I have a small thing with Sandeep. Already we have IGBC certification for our buildings, gold rated or platinum rated. And now off late we are going for US GBC certifications. Now, if I have those certifications, do I need to really go for EDGE certification separately, or these certifications will be sufficient enough for qualifying for financing the buildings or the project?
So, you know, when green financing, I think it depends on the financier. And IFC has its own list of eligible green certifications. It's not like we just want to push our own, but I can take you offline with that list specific to India.
Okay.
Anand, I have another question to you. So when you are giving certification, why don't actually IGBC tied up with the finance institutions so that when the developer goes for certification, he also is automatic construction finance is also sanctioned so that it will be beneficial for the developers.
Definitely, sir. That is our main objective. After seeing the success in 2014-15 with NHP itself, the end users are given the benefit through the reduced EMIs. Ideally speaking, all the IGBC homeowners who have taken this option of NHP through the IGBC certificate project, they are paying literally 11 months of EMI. So we said that project owners should also be given so that the green measures, be it a daylight or elevators or the water fixture, they all can be next level because of the want of funds due to the market condition, because they are all maybe keep fluctuating. Technology is there. Ultra low flow fixture, we are talking about 2 to 4 liters of flushes nowadays. Everything right from the, as you rightly said, 4,000 products, right from the steel to paint to others, these are all eco-friendly products are available. In fact, we are working on a very interesting case study. In a couple of months, we'll come back. Green buildings, 6 of them we have picked it up. They are costing less actually. Couple of minute percentages less actually. Full credit goes to people like you only. 10 years before we used to talk about 10%, then it came to 5%, 2 to 3% more by design stage was hanging around. Definitely, sir, you will hear a better news and a good news very soon actually.
Yeah.
Srikanth sir wants to say something.
Yeah, thank you. My question to Sandeep ji, why are these schemes, why are this financing system is not popular? Green buildings, greenhouses, financing, why is it not popular? Like my other colleague, Mr. Ramakrishna, was saying that, yes, we were aware, but we were never that this kind of funding is available. It's not for our developers, but definitely to our product suppliers that would really help. Like prefab and all we use steel stuff that would help.
Right. So, you know, like I mentioned earlier, green finance is just any other finance, but with one added layer that the proceeds will go into something green. But the rest of the qualifying criteria still remain for any finance. So it is becoming popular. I think right now, if you look at the global demand for green, not just buildings for any green, but also green buildings. The demand is more for green investments than there is supply. So some of the case studies that I showed, so let's say Bank Colombia example I gave, when they raised the first green bond with IFC, when they raised the second one that was without the IFC, that was oversubscribed 2.8 times. Similarly, when Earthaland raised their green bond, that was also oversubscribed. So in a country like Colombia, where just maybe 5 years ago, there were no green certified buildings, today there are, of all the new build, 20% is getting EDGE certified. So the market has totally transformed because the government was very conducive, the banking system embraced it wholeheartedly, and then the whole change happened. So in India, I think India is a much more complex market, but it is opening up to green finance. In fact, there was mention of green bonds for the first time in the Indian budget. And I gave you examples of one municipality actually raising green bonds. So it's like it's opening up and becoming more popular.
One last question. So in your next presentation, where probably our Trida and Krida will request you, in that presentation, if you could just tell us during a financial structuring, where can we capture this particular part? Which particular, or after achieving certain stages of my construction, if you think I can also claim for this or apply for this finance, if that also can be captured in the presentation, we can also reverse march and do our presentation for our financials. That would really help.
Sure. We can talk about that in detail that time.
How to channelize this funding for Indian developers? So I think you have to identify a few companies like HDFC. So to channelize the available funding to more and more developers pan India, because I think the most of the funding is going to the national players. So there are a number of regional players who doesn't have access to this fund and they're not aware.
Right.
How to channelize? See, if you have to actually really help the developers for sustainable projects, so you have to see across the board, not only top A category developers.
Absolutely.
Because 60%, 70% will be the other group of developers.
Maybe more.
Maybe more. So I think you have to seriously think about how to channelize these funds through available mechanisms, so that more and more developers actually come and start actually developing projects with these certifications.
Sir, UNDP is also into sustainable development. How different it is from that sustainable development groups? They're also financing, right? UNDP.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I have a suggestion. Organization like IFC should align with IGBC to popularize this. For example, as I do to a certain extent in consonance with Vijay Sai, not to make it compulsory in the building regulations, but somewhere some kind of mild line has to be drawn. See, it should be like a carrot and stick. Carrot and stick. Somewhere we need to start. See, we have this issue of over-regulation, or I don't say misuse of regulation, which we face on a day-to-day basis. But having said that, the whole discussion should not confine to the financing of the particular model of buildings. The fundamental thing is we would like to have that particular building, those kind of buildings, the green buildings. That is the mission, isn't it? So this discussion is only a part of it, the endeavor to reach that goal. So in that endeavor, IGBC need to take the lead. They should approach the local authorities and they should make a presentation to them. See, if you encourage the developers to do this, they need to what you call
Get some incentives.
Some benefits, but those some benefits, no government is going to give free shops to the developers. But that needs to be structured in a way somewhere it should be a win-win situation. I mean, it's only a wild suggestion. Somewhere it needs to be balanced, or already by default, IGBC should. We will, if you want, we will help. Association will. You can audit those buildings which are already constructed or under construction. If they, by default, if they are
Your voice is lost.
to some kind of certification.
Your voice is lost.
Yeah. My voice is lost.
Now we are able to hear.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So my suggestion to IGBC is, with the help of the associations, you inspect some buildings. By default, maybe they may not be aware that they're constructing green buildings. It's just that they're not bothered or not aware. So if you can audit them, give them the certificates, it's a big deal. People will know that I'm already, even though I have not involuntarily I'm constructing these kind of buildings, then I have got the certification, and these can be publicized across. So these are some of the suggestions which we can also say that if because you guys have done this, you are eligible for the finance by such and such an organizations, either for this building or for next buildings. So this needs to be done, sir. IGBC has a long way to go, though they have done a commendable job. But let me be very candid about this. There's a long way to go, as Srikanth has said. Let it not be confined to big brands and big buildings and big corporates. The mission is will be successful only when you reach Antyodaya. We need to go to the bottom of it. Only then we can say we are successful.
Definitely, sir. We are with you, and then we know very well. That's the reason we have a vision on 2020, 2050, 2070, including everybody at the bottom of the pyramid. Also, we'll come back to you with a specific action plan, or even for getting this non-financial higher FSI, single window clearances, or reduction in the property tax and others. We've done the homework in a particular way, because the proof of the pudding is in eating. Because when I go to the secretaries and others, they will ask, somebody should not bring in the solar PV and take away after getting the incentive. So collectively, with the support of people like you only, we have done enormous amount of exercise. So we will continue this for the green financing and the green bonds, which is also, we are also in touch with climate bond initiatives. CBA has come and visited. They are extremely happy with our process, because it is wholly holistic. We know the Indian context very well. What is applicable for some part of the country where the rainwater harvesting, the water table very high, these are all not even understood in many parts of the world. So we are with you, sir. We'll do it, sir.
Okay, thank you.
When you take this question from Krishnan, Sivaram Krishnan, you reply to him in simple, I think you can answer to his question.
Definitely, sir. I have made a note. I'll come back to you. I'll visit your office and take it forward. What we have done, we'll tell. What we have a very long road, sir. Another 50 years to India to become a net zero carbon. We need all of you. Guide us, and you are all the touch bases. We will follow you, sir. Yes, sir.
The question he asked was actually how the saving is measured.
Definitely, sir. I got a point.
No,
how purely done. In fact, in one of the projects, we have proven it. I'll come back to you very shortly. We'll do that, sir.
No, you can say now actually how it was done simply, because you were compared with the normal building, because when you were saving.
So, for example, very recently a Pune project we compared how it is the energy bill when compared to the baselines are developed. If it is a conventional building which has not done any measures, this could have been the energy bill, water consumption in terms of liters per person. Whereas the Pune building has clearly shown they are able to reduce so many kilowatt hour per month as well as annually. So many kiloliters because of these reasons, 1, 2, 3, as well as even some of the projects they don't want it to get quoted, but their maintenance cost has come down when compared to their own neighbors. In some of the cities in Chennai, few hundreds to some of the high-end luxurious villa, few thousands per month is a reduction in a green rated high-end luxurious. That is the kind of a feedback we are documenting, sir. So how we have brought that baseline, moment we get the consent from the end users as well as the developers, we will share it in the public domain. It is almost on the verge. Then again, we will take it up in a large scale. We will like to take it up. Since Mr. Ramakrishna Rao also mentioned about involving each one of that, we are also handling, not only handling the portfolios of top tier developers, we are handling a projects affordable as well as many things across the country, across all the portfolios. I'll fix up a meeting and share everything, what we are doing and guide us what is to be done further. Definitely there is a long way to go, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all. Can I request Mr. Saurabh Jain, Vice Chairman, IACC APTS and Head of Aerospace and Airport City Business, GMR Hyderabad Aviation SEZ Limited. Sir, I request you to kindly give concluding remarks and vote of thanks, please.
Thank you, Shiga. Thank you. I think it is quite obvious to everyone our session will not do justice to this loaded subject. Maybe as IACC, we can take lead in organizing a full day workshop with all the stakeholders and have a more detailed discussions around all the aspects of financing of a green and sustainable project. Hyderabad already leads India in many economic and social indicators. I'm sure in this indicator also we can show the way to rest of the country. There are a lot of projects that are in pipeline. There are a lot of projects that are already undergoing several layers of certification. Both IGBC and IFC can show the way to all the developers in Hyderabad how to go about it. And with that, I thank all the speakers, esteemed speakers in this session today on behalf of IACC, Mr. M. Anand, Mr. Sandeep Singh, Mr. Shrikant Badiga, Mr. Sunil Chandra Reddy, Mr. Ramakrishna Rao, and Mr. C. Narayan Rao for joining us today and sharing so much knowledge with our members. I also thank and congratulate Mr. Vijay Sai Meka for initiating and organizing this much required session. Last but not the least, I thank all our members and guests for their gracious presence. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone. Bye, your papa. Thanks for
Thank
your
you.
participation.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Have a great
Thank you.
World Environment Day, and then we are all celebrating across IGBC, across the. Thank you, Vijay Sai sir, for the wonderful leadership. We are all available for you and your members at IACC.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
So one moment, Saigaru.
Yeah.
Saigar, we can have in IACC, we can have a special cell for this green thing, green building. We can have a special cell. We can coordinate TRADA and TRADA.
Yeah,
We have access to UNDP also, IFC, UNDP and all. We all can work together.
So we will do a one-day program, inviting all the other financiers.
Sure, sir.
For a presentation.
That would really help.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
The shortest possible time.
Fine, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.